This is We the Sales Engineers Podcast, show 118.
Welcome to We the SEs Podcast, the show for sales engineers by sales engineers with your host, Ramsey Majaba.
What's going on, SE Nation? Welcome back to another podcast episode. I'm here with my favorite co-host, Benny Kanungo.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm good. You look weird.
Yeah, I know. I figure as COVID is progressing, not necessarily going towards an end, I should try cleaning myself up a little bit. So, being
just
not
all the way.
Person, exactly, just halfway.
Just halfway. not the normal half.
No,
the other half.
Right. Yeah, trying to be a little creative.
All right. Well, how are you doing, man?
Doing good. Yeah, it's
a sunny Monday morning.
It is a Sunday, Monday morning. This is true. Coming off our pretty joyous week. We had Canada Day last week, and then we had the 4th of July this past weekend for our American friends. I made sure to dress up in my American attire for that day, the only one in Ottawa to have done so, at least in my small little town. Everything's good. Right. And today we have a great guest. How are you? How was your weekend?
My weekend's been busy. So been trying to find a way to help SEs, right? We're doing the leave no SE behind. And at first we thought about doing like asking people to record videos. But I remember myself when I was trying to do my first YouTube video, how many tries it took me, and then scratching the idea altogether. I'm saying, no, I'm not doing that. So we decided to make it easier for people, and it's been working. We had, I don't know, at the time of the recording, I've had 2 interviews, and I'm doing one more tomorrow and scheduling a couple more. So what we're doing is, instead of asking you to record a video and submitting it to me, Benny and I are separately going to do interviews with you guys, if you're up for it. Those who got affected by Corona, we're going to take 10 minutes to sit down with you, chat with you, highlight your strengths and what you guys are looking for. And we're going to post that on LinkedIn, YouTube, and our website, the forums. So basically to get as maximum exposure as possible. If you guys are interested in this, check out the WeTheSalesEngineers.com website, where there's going to be a sign-up form on the top of the page for you guys to sign up, and then we'll schedule a time with you guys. So that's it for the housekeeping stuff. So hopefully we can help as many SEs get jobs. That's the end goal. You need to feed your families. We want you to feed your families. And that's the goal. So, but beyond that, today's interview was amazing, in my humble opinion. Because, I don't know, before I hog all the intro, Benny, what did you think of today? Or what are we going to talk about in today's interview?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about quite a bit. We have a guest from Germany who's been through quite a bit with respect to his career around sales engineering. He's been at a variety of companies, a lot of well-known ones. He's been, an SC on the ground, principal SC, he's moved up, has his own business. Big fan of how creative he is and how he kind of steps out of the box and has created sales engineering to be something that maybe it isn't in a lot of places. And I think a lot of people will be able to learn quite a bit from this. I know that, I know I certainly have. I know that you mentioned quite a bit that you have as well. So all around it's a great one. But yeah, what did you think about it?
Well, I feel like SEs in general, we focus on the process of sales engineering, like qualifications, sales, discovery, demos. The conversation today did not really talk about the process. He mentioned a few things that highlighted how creative SEs can be in their careers in order to get more deals, to help their account managers. So I just love that part. Most of it was about creativity. We did talk about why he left his company to left his former company to start his own. So yeah, like I just love that entire conversation, and having someone who's been like an SE for the same amount of time as I have been, and to do so much with that much time is just gives me a lot to aspire to, which is great, personally.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good too, though.
Thanks, appreciate it. You can always do more. Have a vivid vision. All right, guys, let's jump into the show. Good afternoon, Patrick. How are you?
I'm very good. Hi, Ramsey.
Hi. Welcome to the show. again, if you do hear some people stomping upstairs, it's the kids, they're home from due to Corona business. Thanks for coming on. You are not in the US or Canada, which most of my guests are from. Where are you located?
I'm in the beautiful Germany. I'm in Bavaria. So it's raining today, but but most of the time there's sunshine and a lot of mountains and German people around.
Nice. So who are you as well, and what do you do currently?
So my name is Patrick Pissang. I'm a sales engineer, pre-sales coach and trainer. That's what I do for a living. I'm also a book author, so I'm authoring fiction book and non-fiction novels, which is a lot of fun. And I'm actually a freelancing SE. So if there's a job to be done in the pre-sales world, I do it. And I have a partner who is a sales. So we are really helping companies out with freelancing engagements in the sales area, if that makes sense.
Okay, let me dig in deeper about freelancing SE. Generally speaking, you have to be an expert in a certain product or certain technology, certain industry to be an SE, and it takes a long time to become an expert.
Yes.
And if you're a freelancing SE, that means you're not focusing on one product, one company. You're jumping around. How does that work exactly?
Yeah, it's narrow, right? So I'm an expert in middleware, if you want. So I stick to middleware, and usually we help out by selling, licensing, or doing pitching, or opening up new business, right? So, and you can open up new business without deep knowledge if it's more about technical discovery, organizational discovery, and getting new clients, new business for our clients, right? That's the pre-sales part. And of course, you learn a lot about the technology, and usually you get enabled by the company you work for. So they have a pre-sales team. You talk to them, you get the knowledge they have, and then you start rolling and learn by experience. But I narrowed down on middleware, where I actually work for, right?
Fair. So would you say that maybe even if you have the focus on middleware, when you're going into different companies that are bringing you on, do you find, or how much of your time is split, say, between developing processes and whatnot to help, more, I don't want to say the word more dedicated SEs, but let's say SEs that are hired full-time as part of that organization, are you more or less setting a groundwork for them, or are you also playing the role of actually being the SE, going to deals and, demoing and selling value and all that?
So if I pre-sales, it's really going out and developing new business. It's business development, if you want, really focused not so much on the technical aspect, but getting a vision to the client, right? Getting them the burning desire for the product that actually is then being sold by the company. So I'm a more salesy part in the pre-sales, if you like, right? And that's also part of my training and what I coach, how can pre-sales be more salesy, because I think there are two fractions, right? So I will call it pre-sales, right? It might be sales engineers or solution consultant, whatever. Let's say it's pre-sales. There's one fraction saying, I'm not a part of sales, right?
Yep.
I'm the technical part that goes out in the field, and the other are saying I'm a sales, and I'm on this side saying pre-sales should be sales, and need sales skills.
Yeah, in terms of technical knowledge or sales knowledge, I feel like it's a moving scale where you have technical on one side and sales on the other, and SEs are usually somewhere on that scale, whether it's to the salesy part or to the technical part, or right in the middle.
Yes.
But how did you get to become a sales coach, a freelance SE? What were you doing before you moved off to your own company, to start your own company?
Yes. So I worked as an SE or pre-sales. I really worked in the field, and before that I was product management. I was in product management. I was a so-called system engineer, very technical role in services, and I was an architect at IBM. Up to the point when MuleSoft came along. So I worked for MuleSoft since very early in 2014. and I was the first sales engineer in DACH, and I was really unsuccessful. um, I'm still wondering why they didn't fire me at the first year. No, it was really bad and didn't work very well because there wasn't a focus. I was the only one in DACH. Yeah, so DACH is Germany, Austria, Switzerland. That's how we call it in EMEA. So, and then I started inventing my own stuff, methodologies, things that no other pre-sales did, because I was never pre-sales before. I had an open mind, I guess, and just try it, right? And then there came out new methodologies that was really lucky to partly teach into the MuleSoft organization. Yeah, and some of those aspects I developed further now after being out of an employment and training that, right? And I built courses around that. I have now a network of other coaches and teachers in pre-sales. I have regular contact, so we are on steady exchange and really develop content further. And one of the main points is really when you look at the market, I think from a trainer's perspective, right? What you usually see are demo trainings. That's a hit thing. I have the feeling, right? From my perspective, it's a bit too early starting with demo. Before that, there is a mindset aspect. There's discovery, there's qualification, and how a pre-sales should think before you do demo skills. It's very important, but it's one thing for later. And that's what I tried to coach. Especially I started in Germany, which didn't work out very well. I don't know why. Germans tend to know it better all the time. I don't know. But it works very well in the international market, and there's a lot of demand for this kind of trainings, especially for the B2B sales engineering teams. Yeah. And I want to bring in their creativity, because this is what I did. I used so I said I'm writing novels, and in some point I think pre-sales are generally very artistic. They are very creative, and I want that the people use that in their job, not stick to the process. That's very like you need to do your demo, whatever. Do a bit of discovery and then shut up, right? It's rather, no, be bold, be there, use your creativity, engage with clients in a way they haven't seen before, right? Because you can differentiate yourself as a pre-sales with every deal, yeah? So you can make the difference as a partner of the account executive. So that was a long answer to a very short question, but I hope it makes sense.
No, very much so. And there's a lot in there that we'll unpack, and that bit about, sales engineering being art, especially, is particularly interesting. But before diving into all of that, you did mention something that did kind of stand out, which was that one experience that you had that was particularly bad, that as you described it. And don't go into too much detail with respect to that. But we did notice too that, you were also promoted in that same place as well, or it seems to be. And so just out of curiosity, what was so bad about that experience? Or rather, what were some lessons learned that allowed you to move forward and, still achieve some really great things at a place where you had as you said, a bad experience?
Yeah. So I think what you mean is that I had a really bad first year as a pre-sales when I started. That had several reasons, and that's part of mindset. So first of all, I didn't have a mindset training. My enablement was really product enablement, right? That's typical pre-sales. You get enabled on your product, and it was also your question before, right? How do you handle that with product? I believe the first step is your mindset as a pre-sales, and that involves creating a vision for the client, and that's what I learned after the first year, because MuleSoft changed the vision of the company completely. So we sold middleware, an enterprise service bus, but suddenly there was this, I don't know, very genius idea to say, no, we flipped it around and we don't call it enterprise service bus anymore, but it's an API driven methodology we have, right? And then my revelation came and said, okay, that's so good. And I started to create content for myself and really went out to clients and saying, look, guys, that's where you can be, right? In terms of success, in terms of product, and in terms of your people and organization. And that's what I learned after the first year. It's it's a vision as a pre-sales. Right? You know all the companies, you have seen them all. You work with a lot of account executives. You go around there and do all these things. Gather that knowledge, build stories around that, create a vision for each and every client, and then everything falls into place naturally, right? You will do great discovery because you're very fluent. You can ask the business questions. You can start qualifying accounts alongside with the account executive, right? Saying, does it really make sense we work on this guy, right? Then you save time and you're more successful. You have spare time again. You can follow your hobbies again, right? Because you're not doing everything the CRM shows you, right? Or where someone is calling saying, hey, Patrick, do a demo tomorrow. I would ask then, hey, guy, dear account executive, why would we win this account, right? That's a very powerful question to be asked in a team. Why would we win? And then see if the account executive has a vision. And if not, that would be a bad sign for me. And I learned this kind of pre-sales style at MuleSoft. And we were very lucky because we had culturally the freedom to build a team that was on par with the AEs. Okay. And if I talk to companies today, that's not always the case. Pre-sales is a technical resource instead of being the co-lead for opportunities and deals. And I think that's important, but it's something that pre-sales can manage and change culturally. I had this one question from a sales engineering lead some time ago. He said, Patrick, do you have methodologies how we do that internally? Because we need to fight sales to get ourselves a bit up in the hierarchies and so on, right? No, I don't have, but I believe that if I change as a pre-sales, the organization will realize, and if I bring more value, right, it will be accepted. So, and then you can step by step change this. I think this culture thing and having a vision is really important. And as a pre-sales, to have the freedom to express yourself creatively, right? That's the thing. That's what I mean with being yourself. Be creative, be artistic, do everything you can to build a vision for your client and start implementing it with your account executive, put it in the account plan, right? Really be a partner on the sales. That's why I believe pre-sales are sales in that sense, right?
So
That makes sense.
I love this. Most of the questions, whenever a salesperson comes and calls an SE and says, hey, I need you to do a demo, the questions are they qualified? What do they need? That sort of question. But you did not ask, well, based on what you just said, you don't ask that question. You ask, why would we win?
Exactly.
Like, which is kind of a step beyond that. It's more, it's you're actually trying to understand if he believes we can win or she believes we can win. And maybe if they haven't thought about it, maybe they should start thinking about it. Like, we ask those questions to customers, like, hey, what would happen if we do this instead of that? And that will help them build visions, which we'll talk about in a second. But we never do that with our account managers. We just ask for facts, like we're asking for features, which is insane. And I love the fact that you said co-lead opportunities, right? And, change yourself, working on yourself. I do have a question about, you mentioned you wrote content for yourself. Like, what kind of content are we talking about? Is it only for yourself? Did you share it with anybody?
Okay, let me think. The content I think I mean is what I use when I engage clients. Okay, it's a presentation, or sometimes you can even create videos, or you can have small comic strips, right, that make a case, or I have some tools like a day in the life, right? You would that's very nice because the idea is to personify software, and then explain the client kind of comic like what the software would do one day long and how it would provide value for the client. So those are things I would create to really lead with the unexpected at the client. Okay, that's one of my core principles. Do the unexpected, so you stick in the client's mind like a chewing gum, right? That's what you told me you found on my profile on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I believe that, because if you do what no one else does, you differentiate yourself, right? And if this also provides value and a bit of insight and learning, I think that's perfect. But you need to be bold. You need to take risk to do that, right? So that means maybe not to follow the second meeting is the demo meeting where you have 20 minutes and please prepare, use standard demo A, right? And to convince the client about feature X, Y, Z because it provides the value he wants. It's more saying, okay, let's look at the client. Let's, as a pre-sales, research the client. What are their challenges, right? And try to provide learning and stories that every pre-sales has, because the whole day is talking to clients in different industries, and take one thing to the other. Yeah. I think that's a lot of things we can do as a pre-sales, including some secret tips. I only have a German book about that. I said I'm author and I'm writing in German. My English is too bad for writing, but yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, and I have 6 secret tips maybe. I gave you one. That's the day in the life. If you want to know more, let's talk about that. Yeah, no problem.
So, all right, 6 secret tips. And
yes,
are we gonna have to learn German to be able to get those? Can you give us a
yes.
teaser of these?
Yeah. Right now, you need to know German. Yeah. It's only in German, but one thing is really the day in the life. So you personify your software, and that's tougher than you think, because you need to really understand your software to be sure you know what value it provides, right?
Right.
And then you would just weave in things like the software goes for a coffee break or something like that, right? You make it really comic-like. It should feel like a human, so your client can actually connect to your software like it would be another person.
Right.
That's very funny. It works very well in terms of understanding complex software, especially. And then there are things like idea sex. Yeah, so that's a thing you would do daily, and it just means you write down ideas daily at a very specific point of time. You write down 10 ideas, and if you do it as a team, the whole team does it, and then you merge ideas. Ideas can be about the client, how to bring value, what might be a new tool, a new presentation, a new feature or new value you add, right? It's a very intense exercise. It sounds simpler than it is. Yeah. So that would be a second tool. And one I really like a lot is a press release of the future. And that's what I do as a freelance pre-sales. So when I engage a new client, because we want to open new business, right? We are developing new business. I write a press release of the future, meaning I imagine we made business with this client, and now I write a press release of 10 years in the future, saying, what have we achieved in 10 years together? And I sent this to a client, and they don't know me before, but they understand what I'm up to. So I'm putting in the effort, writing 2 pages of a press release, right? Putting in all the values we will have achieved in 10 years. And they immediately understand if I understand them. Yeah. And if you're really cool as a pre-sales, you do that for your client, and you print it out on a real newspaper, right? You make it real newspaper-like and take it to the next meeting. And if there's a C-level in there, or some high executive, they will love that.
That's such a cool idea. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Yeah. And one more thing, it's system thinking, and that's a free tip. There is a software called Loopy. Loopy. If you Google that, you will find it. Systems thinking and Loopy. And what you can do, you can use the software to model something like a circle of life. Yeah, you can model a circle of value, meaning you could use system thinking to model the benefits your software brings and how it fights the challenges of your client. Okay, that's a free drawing tool, and you can then have it run, and you will really see if your ideas in your head work out in a real system. And the nice thing about that is you can actually record it as a GIF and place it in your presentations. So you can really show the client, here's my value, and if you bring our software in place, for example, it will solve these issues, and you will then solve that issues, and you really have to circle the feedback circle. It's a lot of fun, and it helps a pre-sale think differently about their stuff, because usually we are locked in some value proposition from sales enablement, right? We get that from the company, and that's fine. It's very useful, but we should also have a customer's view on that, put the other hat on, and use some tools that are out there and can help us. So, and Loopy is a great tool. If you know system thinking, maybe from the university, then try it and see if you can model your software in a way that it solves your client's problems. It's very interesting thing to do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just it's called, I just checked it. It's called, the company is called Encase.me.
Encase, sorry.
And the software is called Loopy.
Loopy, exactly.
Yeah, no, this is awesome.
I mixed it up, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, no, but like, hey, it's it's good. I'm learning a lot today. So we had a day in a life. Idea. Yeah. What was the second one that you called it?
Idea sex.
Idea sex. I didn't miss that.
It sticks in your head, I promise you. That's all about sticking in your head.
I just wanted to make sure I heard it right. Press release and system thinking. So yeah, that's like, these are all things that we never thought of. And the point that I think you made here is when you meet the customer, you give it to them. It's not like you're sending it as a cold email to somebody. You already have some form of relationship, which will entice them to read the press release of the future, I guess. So
yeah, if you do business development, you can also send it out to cold to prospects, and then you call afterwards or connect via LinkedIn or something like that, and it will help you make a good conversation, right? Even as a pre-sales, you can, I mean, you have everything under control, right? So, or how do I tell that differently? Sometimes you complain because you only get bad opportunities. If this is the case, why not go out and find a new opportunity? I mean, you have everything in your toolbox, even as a pre-sales, to go out and make up a new opportunity. There's nothing holding you back. And if you only complain about that, find a way to get an opportunity on yourself and make yourself happy, right? Because if you can find this prospect, hey, might be a good one.
I've heard the saying that people only complain about things they can't control. Nobody complains about gravity. They can't control gravity, right? But things that they can control, they complain about. So instead of complaining, go out and do something. This is great. So
yeah, I love. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Benny. Go ahead.
I just want to make a quick little comment, just particularly about that press release. It's that's such a powerful tool in that you're pretty much, well, you're writing the future, but what better way to convey value in your product than to literally spell it out on paper to say, hey, this is what you can achieve. I don't know, that one is still kind of resonating in my mind just because of, I don't know, the genius of it. I love that idea of writing that. And the idea of also printing it out on a printer, or rather on an actual newspaper to bring it in. I know it goes quite a bit into the idea of sales engineering being a potential art. What a great tool that could be used as. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. So and you can implement them very quickly, right? It's nothing over. You overdo nothing, right? It's quite handy.
Okay. Like, how did you think of all these? Most SEs are too busy to even think about anything. They're just go go go. And how, like, did you set time aside to do that? Because I'm fairly certain you're, even like as a principal SE, you'd be busier than most SEs. Where did you have time to think about all that? What's the process of thinking behind it to make you come up with these ideas?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I know. If you read, for example, Stephen Covey, I think everyone knows him, right? The 7 Habits. I love there's a 4-quadrant matrix in there, right? So then you, as a pre-sales, you're sitting on the airport or you're in the plane, right? You can play Candy Crush, or you can think about what you're actually doing, right? So that's one thing. You really get down the things that are not urgent and not important, right? Get off the TV, maybe read a book in the evening. I don't know. There come a lot of ideas, especially from books. There's a lot of stuff. This press release came from a former job, but you sometimes need to think about the past. Sorry, my English today. So it's, I don't know. it's coming when you think and when you have time, and time only comes when you make time, right? It's again about the control. So push back on opportunities where you see there's no technical fit, right? Really clearly say that to your manager, to the account executive, ask them how or why would we win this account, right? Those are, you should have these argumentations, not in terms of fighting, right? In Germany, argument is not a fight thing. Really, it's exchanging arguments, and you should do that and really have an understanding with the organization. Why would we invest this effort? Why would we invest my time of living? Right, it's my life, right? Why another hour in an account that doesn't make sense? Yeah, I could rather spend this time somewhere else. So it's this thinking, and that's again is mindset. And mindset as a pre-sales is the most important thing, I guess, to be successful. And there's one personal story involved. When I started MuleSoft, I had about at the beginning 14 account executives, 13, 14 at the same time. So I was overworked like hell. And one was really, really nasty. And because of this one guy, I started meditating, or meditation, right? And it really helped. I don't know, I did this 20 minutes in the morning or 15, whatever. And there were a lot of ideas suddenly, and there was calmness, and things worked out better for me. So luckily there was this one guy who really treated me a bit not so well. Yeah, that's how it works, I think.
Was there a specific app you used for meditation, or did you just lie down and start breathing? How was your meditation process?
Yeah, I used Calm. It was around in 2014, I think. Yeah, it was Calm. It was my first app. Yeah, today I don't need an app anymore, but it's a good one when you want to start.
Okay. Good. I've used Headspace, and I've tried Calm a little bit. I haven't been able to get into more than 5 minutes. I started looking at my phone to see what time it is, and I guess that's something I need to work on.
Yeah. No, I mean, meditating can be anything, right? It can be a walk or something like that. But don't use your headphones and put music on, right? Just walk for half an hour, and yeah, it's meditation too, or yoga, whatever.
You're giving. We're taking time between questions. It's just you're giving us a lot to think about, and I'm not sure. Like, here's a question that I was thinking about before this.
Yeah.
Like, you were fairly successful as a sales engineer. Like, you worked at MuleSoft. You got promoted to principal solution consultant. Then you moved on to. I'm looking at your LinkedIn. I'm not stalking you. You moved on to Salesforce. Like, it was you were fairly well regarded, secure job. And then you decided to leave and start something on your own. Why did you do that? How did you have the courage to do that? Like, what's the thought process behind that?
Oh, that's tough. I think it's the same decision that I did when I went into pre-sales, because I was at IBM, right, as an architect. And I had a 3-month-old daughter, and I thought, if I don't change something now, if I don't take a risk now, I will never change anything anymore. So I switched from IBM into pre-sales in a very risky situation, because MuleSoft was very small still. I wasn't, so looking back now, I didn't know what I was doing. Really, I didn't know, but it played out really well in the long term. And I started to think that I needed my own business with the acquisition of Salesforce, because I saw it is a lot of fun. So Salesforce is a great company. I really have to say that in terms of culture, how they treat people, that's all fine. But the way big organizations, sales organizations work, doesn't work for me. Yeah, it's just, you can't play, or I couldn't play all the things I wanted to do. Yeah, because there were suddenly too many people involved. So if you have a sales team of an AE in the pre-sales, it's fine. But if your AE has a global AE, right, then there are other products involved. I mean, it's all fine, but I love creating, I love shaping, but it was really fixed in there. It's really an emotional thing. Yeah. And I thought about, well, going again into a startup. I really wanted that first, but then I looked at my family and said, okay, if I do that, I will travel all the time again, right? I won't be home. And yeah, we had a good outcome with MuleSoft, and in startups you have options, right? I had some options, so I said, okay, we don't buy a house. I don't go in the startup again. We use this money now and we start our own business. So and with the help of my wife. Yeah, and that's how it started. And then we tried it, and then we didn't give up and pushed forward and pushed forward. And we're still pushing, right? It's still tough, but it's a lot more enjoyable because after that, I can just go to my kids, right? There's no boss telling me what to do. I can go for a walk or do whatever. And it's really a lifestyle decision. It's the vision of my life, if you want, right? How I want to live. I don't want to be an employee. That's the main point. I want freedom. Yeah.
Did you write a press release of the future for your own company?
I actually did, but it's 2 years old now. And I have a daily book. I plan my time, and I have something like a compass. This is an English word. So it has a compass page where I said, this is the vision for the week, and then I plan my week accordingly. Because there's too much things I do in parallel. So it's writing, it's pre-sales, it's my coaching business, it's developing new courses like this 6 secrets I'm developing in course just now for B2B teams. So
is it in German?
There's a lot to do.
Is the course in German?
No, I completely switched to English with all my content.
Okay.
Or actually, I'm in the process to do that because the German market, as I said, for some reason, doesn't really want training or coaching, or is demanding it like it's happening in the US now. And from a pre-sales, I mean, we see it now. Our pre-sales collective is very, very coming up. You've heard about pre-sales collective?
Yeah,
right? Yeah, of course you have. In Germany, it's pretty new, and they're coming in there. And the job as the sales engineer, the pre-sales, is quite unknown here. Yeah, and then it's really a technical role that's supporting sales. So there's not the need, I think, yet. It will come later, and then I'm prepared as a German guy. But so far, the international market is far more advanced with the role, with sales in general, and the need of good coaching and enablement. Yeah. So that's why everything is English, except my books, because I started in German. And yeah.
Fair. All in good time. And maybe just a couple of quick comments. I don't know, for those that have heard of it, just because you mentioned the 6 secrets there, there was a book or maybe a little movie that went around for the longest time called The Secret, where different people believe different things about it. However, a big thing about it is this idea of kind of, well, I guess for them, it was having a vision board. So kind of like write down on paper these things that you want to be able to achieve in the future. And then kind of eventually you work your way towards that. And it's kind of cool. The press release kind of works in a similar way where you're painting vision of the future, you're putting it down on paper, making it very tangible, and then kind of forge that path to eventually get there, which is really cool. But you did also mention something else too, which is kind of that maybe that transition point from being in a job to eventually maybe needing that freedom and kind of having that feeling to then start your own thing. Was that kind of the same type of impetus that caused you to want to then also be more creative and have more personality as a sales engineer in the pre-sales process, as opposed to just fitting the mold of, say, going from demo to demo or filling out RFP to RFP? What was it that caused you to want to now be more, or to have caused you to have become more creative in that role and becoming more yourself?
I believe every human is made for creative things. So you have something in there, right? And it will fulfill you. So, but a lot of people don't let it out, right? They can paint, they can write, I don't know, there's so many things they can do, play guitar, whatever. And I just think they don't do it, but if you would encourage them, it would help them become, I don't know, more relaxed, maybe have more ideas, yeah, and stuff like that. And becoming, so there is of course a point, right? I could now go around and say every pre-sales should be self-employed or whatever, or be an entrepreneur or what, I don't know. But I believe looking at this, and this is also a year-long observation of my clients, there are niches for pre-sales. So not every pre-sales is the same. There are people who, like you said, Ramsey, right? It's a scale, technical and sales. So there are people who are really into the C-level conversation. That's natural to them, and they will win that, right? Then there are people who love demos. There are people who love POCs, right? Whatever you think about all this stuff, there are people that love to do that, yeah. And I think it's very good to have it from a pre-sales manager's perspective. You should employ a team that is on the complete scale, yeah? Instead of, and that's what I see, this risk mitigation strategy. Every pre-sales goes through a demo exercise, demo training, right? And after that, we expect more sales.
Yeah.
Well, that's pure risk mitigation. Yeah. You put the process on people, and I think that's a bit misleading in pre-sales. It's also in sales actually, because you limit the people, you make them equal, and sales, I think, lives from different people, have different ideas, joining them, right, and going forward. That's why an AE alone could never win a complex software deal, right?
Yep.
You need the pre-sales, yeah, and this alone is the diversification, yeah. And it's the same in the pre-sales team also. You have different roles, different skills, and different strengths, yeah, and you need to play them out instead of putting a risk mitigating process on top of that.
Yeah, I like that idea. Like, go. Yeah, I really have nothing else to add to that. That was amazing. That was perfect. So we're going to move on to the not so fire round, which is the same 4 questions we ask almost everybody. And you can take your time in answering. So Benny usually starts us off. Go for it, Benny.
All right. So, you've obviously done quite a bit, and, maybe in any context, whether it be as an SC or maybe being self-employed, like an SC freelancer, just out of curiosity, what's one thing you love about it?
So my freedom, that's what I love. My family, my freedom, that I can do whatever I like. I can sleep until noon, nobody cares, and that's great.
Fair. I guess that's pretty ubiquitous across just kind of running your business in general. That's not a bad. Very cool.
On the flip side of that, so the second question is, what would you change about your current role or current company or current situation?
What would I change? Yes, I would change something, and that means in a specific way scaling. So I would hire people earlier. So I'm now thinking about hiring people.
Yeah.
And I should have done that earlier. So really for delegation, for new ideas coming in. Yeah.
Like, what would be your first hire right now?
I think an account representative. So someone who can work on new business and work with me to generate new business.
Nice.
And if this works, then the natural next step is a new trainer, right? Someone who can also deliver the trainings.
Nice.
So maybe at some day.
Yeah, no, that's
you want.
That's
Yeah.
Well, we could talk about that later if you
see.
Benny, I think that's the next question is yours.
Yes, sir. So you have mentioned a few resources during the call already, which is really good. For those in Germany, or at least those that speak German, your book is an excellent resource. Then, like you said, you have some other content in English as well. What are some other books, tools, or resources that you'd recommend for any, say, budding SC, experienced SC, or just, further one's skills as a solutions consultant or anything else? Sorry.
Yeah. So I think there are not a lot. There are 2 less books on pre-sales in English, I think. John Kerr has a very good one.
Yep.
But everything around sales is very valuable. Sales differentiation is one thing. Jeb Blount, I think I read a lot. So if it comes around prospecting or whatever, that's all great stuff. Mindset, so 7 Habits of Covey, of course, Stephen Covey, and maybe some unexpected thing. read biographies. Yeah? So I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's biography, Total Recall. Pretty amazing stuff. And yeah, you see that persistence is a key to success. And I think that's also true for pre-sales, right? Honing your skills, have your daily routine, whatever you do. If you have a standard demo, maybe train it daily so it runs just smoothly. It's just, you don't need to think anymore. Those are, or your script, whatever you have, your vision you want to play out with the clients. Have a routine, and I think biographies are a good thing that really show you what made people successful. Yeah.
Nice. I do want to add one more book based on the newspaper clipping. There's a book called Vivid Visions, which is exactly what you were talking about, like, which teaches people to do, like, if you don't know how to write, like, build your vision for 10 years, Vivid Visions is the book for you, if that's what you want to do.
I will read that. I didn't know.
You basically did your own thing. You did your own vivid vision, which is great. You're ahead of the curve. All right, last question for me. What separates the great SEs from the okay or not so good ones?
Okay, I tried to take a sales manager's point of view at first. When I talk to sales leaders, sales engineering leaders or sales engineering managers, most of them tell me today it's discovery skills. So it's not demo, it's discovery, right? How do I talk with the client? Can I ask business-related questions? Yeah, the capability to hold back with the solution. I mean, it's tough for everyone, right? You know your tool and everything. You go into a call, and the client asks, "Do you have this feature?" And you have it, and you scream, "Yes!" You want to scream, "Yes, we have it!" But hold that back. To hold that back and say, "Okay, why do you ask that question?" Right? Yeah. So not going into the technical bit, but ask the whys, go into the business, have the confidence that this will add value in the long term. Those discovery skills, I think, separates the good one from the okay ones. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So last question of the day. If people want to connect with you, where can they do that?
Yeah, shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I'm there. LinkedIn is the first thing to go to. The rest is on my LinkedIn profile if you can't reach me there.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna have your LinkedIn link to your LinkedIn profile on the show notes, and this is show 118. So it'll be out in a couple of weeks from now. And perfect. This was an amazing conversation. Thanks a lot, Patrick, for your time. We appreciate that, and have fun spending time with your family.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we are done. Thanks, Patrick, for coming on. This was awesome. There was so many different things. Like, there are things that he's mentioned on this show that no one's ever mentioned before, and things that I've thought of, but mostly things that I have not even considered to think of.
Right.
Like idea sex. I don't know if that's the perfect name for it, but it does stick to your mind. Writing 10 ideas about the client, bringing value, like anything that could help. I do that all the time. I just forget about it after I write it down. And like, I don't share it with colleagues. Colleagues don't share their ideas with me. And it's not that we're not tight or anything. It's just everybody's busy doing their own thing.
Right.
What did you think?
Yeah, no, it's well, everything you just said. Definitely share that same feeling, or share that same sentiment. I guess just the idea of also just systemizing, I suppose, all these things that maybe that we're all doing, but kind of creating like a real community around those things is kind of really cool. And just in general, I suppose, being more creative and stepping outside of the box and kind of breaking the mold of what a position has to be, and then making it your own was really cool too. Like the idea of being a co-seller on a deal as opposed to just being a resource, pretty awesome. I love that. We had that idea of kind of bringing up the standard, or bringing up the clout of the ST team across one's organization is excellent as well. So yeah, no, I enjoyed quite a bit about this one.
Yeah, so the show notes are going to be on wetheSalesEngineers.com/we show 118. By the way, I don't know if you've noticed or anyone's noticed, but I'm going to point it out because that's the kind of person I am. I forgot to close the curtain, and now things are showing. We were cleaning up a little bit, like all the paperwork, because it's my day off. We decided to do some paperwork cleaning, and now the whole place looks like a mess, and I didn't notice it until halfway through the show. So
No, it looks great. I like
and
that.
now, if you haven't noticed it, you get to notice it a few seconds before the end of the show. By the way, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you should, just so you can see the mess. Making it sound more impressive than it is. Anyways, anything else? I think this was good. Should we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much else. Hope everybody else is doing well, though. We probably mentioned it a little bit at the very beginning of the show, but even still, we have the No Sales Engineers Left Behind initiative in full force. And I want to change up the format a little bit, or rather maybe make it comfortable for some people that maybe don't want to post a video of just themselves talking, where we're actually going to offer you the opportunity to schedule times with us where we'll actually talk to you or speak to you one-on-one and essentially interview you and get a quick little interview, get a quick little video up about who you are, what you're looking for, what you're looking to do, and that hopefully will help alleviate some of the cold feet to jump on board. So you'll see some things to do with that coming up pretty soon.
Well, actually, a few episodes have been out. Like I've done a few interviews, and so okay, they're not out at the time of the recording. They will be out by the time we publish this episode. Anyways, that's great. Thanks for bringing that up, Benny. That's it for Benny. This is Ramsey signing off.